So you've been reverse dieting to improve your metabolism, enjoy some extra food and flexibility with your diet, and you're finally thinking big picture, which is great, but now you're finding yourself gaining weight too fast and you're worried you're screwing things up, wondering if you're doing something wrong. Don't worry, I know why this is happening, and I'm going to help you fix this problem starting right now. So I know as a YouTuber, I'm supposed to save the best for last and make you watch all the way through the video, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to give you what I consider to be the most likely reason why you're gaining more weight than you want while you're reverse dieting, and that's simply lack of adherence. And it's not an attack. I'm not even saying you're necessarily even doing it intentionally. You may think you're doing great, but not realize you're going way off plan, but it's pretty easy to get pretty lax with things when you're going through your reverse diet. Most of it's probably result-based, right? You're not going to be able to see the fat loss you're after. It doesn't feel like there's as much of a point to things, so you find yourself struggling to stay on top of things, to track diligently, to measure foods and things like that, because hey, what's the point? I'm gonna gain weight anyways. But then this is the problem: if you get a little bit too relaxed with things, now you start gaining weight quickly, and it can be easy to kind of blame the reverse diet when it's more that you're having a hard time sticking to the plan. Anyway, this is the first step you should take if you're struggling with gaining too much weight. Take a week and just be super diligent with things. Start measuring everything you eat down to the gram on a food scale. No more extra bites, no more extra tastes that are unaccounted for, no big free meals on the weekend, which is a big problem for a lot of people. Maybe you're great 5 or 6 days a week, but then we have that 1 or 2 days a week on the weekend where things get out of hand, but we don't tend to count those days, right? We just think about, well, our target calories. But as I always say, it's not your target calories that matter, it's your actual consumed calories, whether you're physically tracking them or not. So while it may not be a long-term plan to just weigh everything, and I certainly don't think it should be for most people, taking a week to make sure that you're being accurate and that you have an idea of what things should look like can be very helpful. And if nothing else, consider this: you don't necessarily have to weigh all the little things you eat, but more so the more calorie-dense food options. If you think about it this way, if you're off by 30-40 grams of broccoli, you're only going to be off by 10 or 15 calories. If you're off by 30 or 40 grams of peanut butter, now it can easily be 200-250 calories that are unaccounted for. So the foods that add up in calories faster have more benefit to weighing more diligently than things like veggies and low-calorie, high-volume foods. Now, if you have been diligent to the plan, but you still find you're gaining weight too quickly, you're probably increasing your calories too fast. Remember, the faster you increase calories, the more likely you are to gain extra body fat. You get some benefits faster, like feeling better, recovering better, being able to enjoy more food and things like that, but it does come with that other risk. Whereas if you increase calories more slowly, it's going to take longer to get those benefits, but you're less likely to gain extra weight as your metabolism has a better chance to keep up with those smaller increases. Keep in mind, however, hunger is usually worse, especially in the earlier stages of the reverse diet, and this is also part of what can make it harder to adhere to the plan. You're probably very surprised with how hungry you are, given that you're getting more calories, but this is very much normal. I've talked about this a lot in the past, but you need to consider if it's going to be realistic for you to make smaller increases because you don't want to gain weight. If you're making these smaller increases, but feeling super hungry and having a hard time sticking with things and you keep overeating, then it's actually doing more harm than good, whereas a faster, bigger increase, while it gives you higher target calories, it may help you actually be able to stick to the plan and therefore actually consume less calories. Another mistake you might be making is making static increases each week no matter what. What I mean by that is you may be going, well, I'm just going to increase my calories by 50 or 100 every single week going through this reverse, not paying attention to what's happening and adjusting accordingly. So if you're increasing your calories by 100 every week, but you're already in a surplus and you're gaining weight quickly, you're just continuing to add more and more on top of that. And of course, at that point, you're much more likely to continue to gain, and possibly even faster because your body's not keeping up. So I don't recommend making increases that you're just going to follow all the time, but instead taking the data from the previous weeks and looking at how things are going and making adjustments based on that. And if things are going well, you can make bigger increases. If they're not going so well, you make smaller increases, or maybe don't even increase at all until things slow down a little bit as your body catches up. Now, how many calories is complex? It kind of depends on how things are going. I have videos that cover this, so I have a link in the description for how fast to increase your calories. You can check out after this video is done if you're wondering how fast you should take the pace. Now, another mistake you might be making is forcing your calories to a certain amount based on, say, like a TDEE calculator, maybe some kind of macro calculator you found, any type of equation that is given to you based on things like your height and your weight and activity levels. It'll spit out certain numbers for you that you should maintain your weight on. So you probably think, I need to get to those numbers because that's what it says. The problem is it doesn't know your genetics. It doesn't know your dieting history. It doesn't know a lot of different factors. So it's just a best guess, but it doesn't mean you're going to be able to get your calories that high. And I do find they often overshoot what's realistic for a lot of people. So if you're already in a position where you're feeling pretty good, your hunger signals have settled down, you're not overly food focused, and you're satisfied with the amount of food you're eating, then continuing to try to force more calories, especially if you're gaining really quickly, is only going to make things worse. Now don't go anywhere because I'm going to get into other considerations besides nutrition, but there is one more thing with regards to nutrition I want to talk about that you may be doing wrong, and that is you stop paying attention to how much protein you're eating. You've been in your cutting phase, you've been keeping that protein high, you want to make sure you keep your muscle, you want to feel full, and now, just like I said previously, okay, you're in a different phase now, it feels less important, you just start to let that slide, and now all of a sudden your protein gets cut down practically in half. Well, protein is extremely important. And I've shown plenty of new data that's coming out that shows even eating more calories through more protein doesn't add to extra body fat and has even sometimes helped people lose body fat. It's just really helpful when it comes to body composition. And even if calories are equated, if your protein is much lower, you're not going to get those benefits and it's not the same. So calories are always what's most important, but protein is a very close second. So don't let that slide. Okay, it's not just nutrition. Our activity levels matter. And what you could be doing is just completely stopping your activity. Sometimes people just completely stop exercise altogether. You start increasing your calories that you eat while doing less activity. You start gaining weight really quickly. While we can make some arguments, especially if you're looking to cut again down the road, that it's a good idea to maybe taper down your cardio some, taper down your steps some, so that you have more room to make adjustments when your next cut does begin. But you still want to maintain an active, healthy lifestyle. You certainly want to be strength training. One of the biggest mistakes you may be making is not utilizing strength training through your reverse diet phase. You should strength train consistently, whether you're cutting, whether you're building, whether you're maintaining. It's too important and has such a huge role in body composition. If you stop doing that, it's really putting you at a disadvantage. Now, if you're not looking to cut again down the road, then it can make more sense to even keep your cardio higher if you enjoy it. But with that, this is why we can't only look at weight. Remember, weight gain and fat gain are not one of the same. They can be, but they oftentimes aren't. And especially if you're utilizing a good strength training program, you're going to build muscle. Muscle has weight, and you may even see scale weight go up, but that doesn't mean you're even necessarily gaining body fat. I just made a post recently on my Instagram about my client who has increased her calories from 1,300 up to over 2,000. She's gained 4 pounds, but has dramatically improved her body composition thanks to how powerful the training stimulus is and building more muscle. So you can't be terrified of gaining weight, and you have to understand that not all weight is created equal, which is why you also want to look at things like pictures and measurements. Because while I would never tell you to expect to see improvements in body composition, it's possible, but no matter what, the strength training and the higher protein and staying diligent is going to give you by far the best chance to remain as steady as possible. And because I don't want to create false expectations, the most likely reason that things went so well is because with the increase of calories, it was more realistic to stick to the plan. She stopped having big binging episodes. She created a healthier relationship with food, and that's why she was able to create these results. Always remember that when you see these pictures and things online where it looks like someone increased calories and lost a bunch of body fat, chances are it has more to do with adherence than it does magically burning fat while bringing calories up. It's very unlikely. No matter how things are going though, always remember to think big picture, remember why you're doing this, focus on the benefits of what come with this, like being able to enjoy more food and the balance and flexibility. You're going to be able to perform better in the gym, you're going to build some muscle, you're going to build your metabolism, it's going to help you feel better, recover better, sleep better. There's so many benefits from getting calories up and getting out of that starved state. So don't focus all your attention on how you wish you were leaner or anything like that. Understand that time for that's going to come. Any weight that you're gaining now is temporary, and it's for the greater good of what you're trying to accomplish. As you already know, trying to stay on these low calories is not going to work. So you have to get past that and just not put so much focus and attention on body weight, body image. Understand that that it's not what makes you who you are as a person. Other people aren't judging you based on your appearance. They're judging you on how you treat them and how you treat other people and what's inside of you that matters. We want to be healthy. We want to be active. These are all great things. But if you get too wrapped up in being concerned about body image, you're going to be miserable. Even if you end up getting there, you still end up miserable because now you're terrified of losing that. So work on that relationship now. That way you'll be better prepared to go through the cut later, or even if you're not cutting later, you're putting yourself in a much better place mentally, and that's extremely important. Now, with all that being said, you're probably wondering how much weight is too much to gain and what should I expect? Well, I have a video that you can check out up top next that goes through my thoughts regarding this. Otherwise, I think you'll like this bottom video instead. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you next time.